recording in progress.
But it's the view.
Always record. That's scary. Okay.
View.
All right, and we have the 2 hours. Now, do we test where the owl should go? Like, 1 hour is here, should the other hour go further near, like right spot is or no?
And this is.
Through there.
Even
According to the picture, it shows
like this?
I can put a recorder.
I mean,
Yeah, they're communicating through each other, so it should be fine.
I just want to make sure that the other owl picks up people on the other side. What do I know? Not that much, believe me.
My goodness, my goodness.
Pretty okay?
Yeah, so far so good.
All right, let's see from the show. The shelf is we're all good.
Oh, yeah.
That's such a nice meeting.
Where do you
I have a video. And they were pretty. And
everybody, you're like everybody else. We live in Riverdale.
That's what that is.
No, it's just always like, obviously, got rid of we had a lot of
Oh, they did?
and when we got kids, everybody was.
But who's the one that they built?
Ridiculous.
Very close to the test. I said, you are the people, the reason I have noise every Saturday morning during my 5 minutes. Can't believe you. So far, so good. Good morning. You guys are going to be down in the actual, which I think is fine. I think it's fine. No, you know what? You could get, you have a room. You could have like 8.
Well, no, she works for an NGO that is there. But it's so much easier for her to commute. And each day is lovely also.
Good morning, Susan.
Hi, good morning. Hi, Jane.
How are you?
Getting on, honey.
Morning, Harry.
Yeah, we got ourselves. No, we got ourselves
Think about, you know, I need somebody here to do the work. Otherwise, I'm telling you. Thursday night thing starts this Thursday night. Right here, it's the same setup. I mean, you know.
Lincoln Center. Okay. Everybody was wearing masks, and it was the place was full, and no problem. It was, you know.
I went to the very exhibit.
Yeah.
The star was the star was very lovely. Such a
there are so many great, I went to the different exhibits now, because, you know, especially now that I have my 3 vaccines. And so I said, I'm fine, you know, nothing can happen to me, and I cannot get nothing, and I cannot harm anybody else. My doctor said I am protected at 95%, nothing can be.
Is this a bad spot, Lee?
Of the virus.
I still subway.
Yeah, that's true. Then the subway or whatever, but other than that, you know, yes, yesterday when I was at the concert, we were packed. The place was packed, and but everybody was wearing a mask, so it was great. And so the only thing that I don't want to do is travel in a plane for 5 hours with a mask. But that eventually will change also. So if I have to, I will. But usually I
If you don't think all these owls fighting each other,
No, actually, having two will pick up everybody's sound in a
Morning,
bigger and a
Karen.
better way, as we checked with Rye Community Center. I think had got to, and it works. So, and the complaint was not that my voice couldn't be heard. My voice is loud, but everybody else was a little muffled and wasn't really.
To get what?
So,
To get
Yeah, but you know what, I understand, and I work with China a lot, and I was supposed to be there now in the end of November, but I am not going because of all the problems and so forth, and entry and et cetera.
Yes.
And so we'll do everything on Zoom, especially Zoom.
when you get there. His Chinese. His parents have job is
all right. Wait a few minutes
they have
so we can get everybody here who wants to be here. We're just gathering, folks. Give us a couple minutes. We'll do our thing. It's also a very nice day out. That's a problem. That's a real problem. Yeah. So it's too nice outside. You can play golf. You're out.
Golf, never, golf.
Do I golf? No, my son. No. I've never golfed in my life.
Which
Once.
son?
Gabriel's a pretty good golfer. Yeah. His best friend Cal Shapiro has no handicap. So he's a real golfer.
Yeah, I have a huge handicap, so that means that I cannot see.
You know what? It's all good. It's all good. Look at this. I got the shuffles coming close. I feel very blessed.
Because we can't hear.
No, it's not. Because
Yeah, we're closer to God here, it's perfect.
we're getting folks gathering. We're gonna wait a few minutes. We get the generations of the first family. How cool is that? Hi, Mier.
Wow, look at that.
Very sweet.
Harry is there
Very
as a
sweet.
Roman Scorer.
And he has his grandson, who's clearly a rabbi.
He's gonna have to behave today.
You know what? That's not as we know, Jack. From somebody else's role model, behaving has nothing to do with it. There's not,
Yes, but you taught me a few things.
No, you know what? Behave is a relative term. A relative term.
And for some reason, my wife has.
Hey, Bishop.
So,
Good morning. Good morning. How are
Are you
you?
muted, I think, Wayne? Are you muted? Did I mute everybody? No. You may be
Can you
muted,
hear me?
Wayne.
Oh, okay.
I'm not hearing you, Wayne. I don't know why.
You're not hearing me?
Good morning, Rabbi.
Oops, what happened to the sound?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
16 online. We're
Can you hear me, Jane?
gonna wait 2 more minutes. Is that okay? 2 more minutes? Everybody okay? All right. I feel so terrible that I want to feed people. I always say, couldn't we
Good
speak
morning,
in the
everyone.
Couldn't we do something? They'll eat under their mask. It won't be. We could eat outside easily.
Good morning, Wayne.
Good morning, Jane.
Wayne, I got plenty of these.
How
guys.
are you?
Good. How are you?
Okay.
Good.
Rabbi Bergman, my mom.
Such a
Oh,
sweet
wow.
service, right? Right? And so, listen, the band is great. Tracy is, transformational. To have the supreme backup,
But also you're teaching about taking the spirit out.
That was the hope. People heard it. So, and then Tracy, she had this song this year. I said, "Oh, I'll just tweak my thing to." So it was really sweet, yeah. It's what happens when you
Hey,
have
Rochelle.
an all covenant cantor, to be able to work with, because it's really just a partnership. So it's great. I do nothing by myself. How many more of the first family can we fit in the screen? I love this. Harry, you're doing very well.
Is Harry here also?
Harry is online with us. He has, I'm guessing he's down.
Yes, the
a
whole
little
group
south.
is here.
Yeah,
Hey,
Miri's
Mayor.
psyched to see
Hey
you.
guys, how you doing? I'm Rabbi Serkman. I knew your mother when. I have stories to tell you. It'll cost you.
Just do the private messages, Jeffrey, you know, and fill them in.
You gotta know why. Let's see. Let's see if we may not have. You know what? I don't think we have. Let's see. I wonder.
Maybe they're not speaking the hours.
No. Yeah, maybe they're not speaking. Why not? Let's see.
Who?
I have host me. Let's see if I can. You want to play the clip? Should I get Carlos? Let me see if Carlos does.
You remember my name?
What's wrong with Jane? We usually hear her.
Well, everyone.
Jane, hello.
No, it's not.
Oh,
Jane,
me?
It's everybody.
What?
It's everybody. Maybe the.
Hello.
Okay. Hi, Neil.
Good morning, John. Borden, how are you?
Fine. Thank you, Jane. Morning, John.
Yes, that's
Morning.
Moved by AV, now by AV, used to be our.
Hello, Andy.
Need what?
What do we have to do here?
Good morning, Jane.
Echo cancel speakerphone meeting Owl Pro.
What?
Microphone.
In Stamford.
High definition. So we have this.
Yeah.
Echo canceling speakerphone meeting Owl Pro. Audio settings. Let's go to audio settings.
No, it's easier for him.
Audio settings. Well, I have audio settings. but Echo canceling. So why is there use separate audio device to play on? No. Test speaker.
Yeah, go ahead, hit that.
Hit test speaker.
Yeah.
Let's do that. All right, Jane, can you talk?
Where are we?
I don't know.
Excellent.
All right. Jane, can you talk?
She
Who,
can.
me? Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jane. We were just testing, and you are our test talker. I just want you to know. You're actually our best talker, right? But that we appreciate it because now we have sound for the owl folks. Oh, you know what? The microphone volume is low.
It keeps going in and out, Rabbi.
So we're gonna do something. I'm gonna do something wild. Let's see if I can do this.
Well, you have automatically adjust microphone volume, which is going to change it. Go ahead and slide it, but I think it'll slide back down. Go ahead and.
Oh, really? Oh. I'm just testing. No, it won't actually let me slide.
Oh, okay, go ahead and
Turn it off,
uncheck that.
and then go. Let's see what happens.
Test.
Do you hear me more now?
Yes.
Yes.
Is that better?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna do it a little more. Watch this. Am I not? Do I sound now more like a baritone in the opera now? What do you think,
Absolutely.
Wayne? Be honest.
You don't sound like a baritone.
You know what? What kind of friend are you, man? Come on.
I think he sounds like a soprano.
He's echoing a lot.
It's a lot of echo, but we can deal.
Yeah, we can deal with it.
Well, it's the garden room. You can't get rid of the echo in the garden room.
So now, we're gonna test now people here. Neil, can you just check in for us? Say something.
Hello, everyone. Oh,
Did you
great.
say hello, everyone?
Yes.
We're gonna be in business today.
Yeah.
I am so excited.
Good.
Rabbi, the sound keeps going in and out.
Hey, does anyone else have that problem, or is it just Jane?
Nobody else has that problem. Oh wait, Rochelle does, because she's related to Jane. The sound is going in and out. Well, here's what we have this time, folks. We have 2 owls. I don't mean the animal or bird. I mean these 2 video camera systems. So we were told to get 2, and maybe it'll work better. So we're gonna try this and see. And if this doesn't work, something else will.
Absolutely.
All right?
Thank you for keeping trying.
Believe me, it's just money. What do we care? It's all good. It's all good. So it's great to see everybody. We have, we have high participants, households online. We have about the same here. So I think we're about 36 all told. We're very excited to see everybody. We are the perfect portion. We could study this portion every week to explore the journey home. It's literally the perfect portion. I'm actually going to use it this coming week on Thursday night. I'll tell you about it at the end of my session. I'm going to use it in a different way, but you'll hopefully you'll come to that too. You can come virtually. The first thing we do is share a blessing. It's at the bottom of the first page. Share with me. Baruch
Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotah v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah. Amen.
Amen. So I'm going to mute everybody, but then you can unmute at your will. It's all good. Don't worry about it. It's good to see Paris is represented.
Jeffrey, excuse me one second.
Yes.
Are you going to be able to take off your mask? And also, it's coming through to me very loud, for whatever that's worth.
Wait, I'm coming through very loud?
To my ears, yeah. I don't
Well,
know.
because I yelled, Tom.
It works. Let's go.
And the reason I'm doing that, I can speak in a normal, mellifluous voice, but I'm afraid that Shayna wouldn't hear me. That's my worry.
Yeah.
And many kids who I teach move away from me, which I find is hilarious, right? Because they say, this guy's yelling at me, what's the deal? So I do that when I get excited, but also because I want to make sure everybody hears online. I'll try to speak in a more, tonal voice so that I'm not so loud. But I may increase, I can't promise. So this week's Torah portion is one we have studied multiple times. And in fact, we studied it last year. We studied it 3 years ago. This very portion, this very text, but it means something different this year because we're in a different place. And, as we know, because the text evolves and changes based on how we see it. And this whole year is about the journey home, going the long way around, as Bart Giamatti says. And so our hope is to understand how Avram's leaving home is a journey to home, and what that teaches us about our journeys, and really how Avram's call leads him back home, or to home. And I think it's going to relate directly to us in our lives. In fact, I know it is, because I know the end. We're going to read the very familiar text, my bar mitzvah portion, by the way. I'm going to start on this side, because I started on this side the other day. And I might call on anybody who's actually, on Zoom. We have 20 participants, which is exactly our average. I'm very excited. Michael Sheffer, start us with the text, the Pshat.
The Eternal One said to Abram, "Go forth from your land, your birthplace, your father's house, the land that I will show you. I will make of you a great nation, and I will bless you. I will make your name great, and it shall be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you, and I will pronounce doom on those who curse you. Through you all the families of the earth shall be blessed." So Abram went forth as the Eternal had told him, and Lot went with him. Abraham was 75 years old when he left Haran. Abraham took his wife Sarai, his brother's son Lot, all the possessions they had amassed, and the people they had acquired in Haran. They set forth to the land of Canaan, and they arrived in the land of Canaan. Abram then traversed the land as far as the sacred site of Shechem, as far as the oak of Moreh. At that time, the Canaanites were present in the land.
Yeah, it's a little anachronistic twist. By the way, the Canaanites were there too. Just to remind us, what's going on in the land. Finish it up, Michael. Just so we get the framing, we're going to focus on the first two verses. Go ahead.
The Eternal now appeared to Abram and said, "I am giving this land to your descendants." Abram then built an altar there to the Eternal who had appeared to him. From there he moved on to the hill country east of Bethel. He pitched his tent between Bethel on the west and Ai on the east. There he built another altar to the Eternal and called upon the name of the Eternal. And then Abram continued his journey toward the Negev.
So the question is, and I'm going to try to guide our questioning. So what is this journey home about for Avram? What is it about based on our shot read of the text? Anybody who's here, anybody who's there, what is this journey home? Where does it lead? Go ahead.
It's leaving a safe place, going forth in faith is what I see. Really
I love
having,
that. I'm going to take, that's a great catchphrase. So it's leaving a safe place, going forth in faith. That's beautiful. Yeah, but
When the Jews return from Babylon, I understand that they're going home, but here, home could be conceived as Babylon, and the captivity could be conceived as a homecoming. So you're putting a kind of a preferred interpretation, which I like.
Yeah. So if you said it in historical sense, Bob Coulter is saying, you know, where is home? That's a big question. So where are we heading? That's a very, very good question. Jack?
To me, this always brings back the meaning of the face, because face is another one-way street. A lot of people have faith in something and do nothing about it. This is a faith that is transformed into a dual relationship, and he doesn't know what home means at this point.
Yes.
He was not only chosen by God, but he embraced that, thinking, okay, I have to do this not only to please God, but also to convince myself.
So Jack is saying something important that we don't want to miss, because he said three things. I'm going to highlight two. One is, it's a journey of faith, but it's not just about hearing God's call, it's about hearing something inside. Very important. Very important. Raj?
So, Rabbi, it appears to me that Abraham is going north, east, west, south, and it appears as if he is marking a territory. So I think he's looking for a bigger place, a bigger home, and he doesn't have himself in his mind, but what the vision initially told him, that it's going to be a great nation. So Negev meaning south, and then I meaning west, he seems to be kind of going in a circle, but marking a territory, building a bigger home.
Yeah, so is he marking a territory? Is he going from a, one bedroom to a 3-bedroom with a nice patio? Yeah, it seems, I'm just being cynical, but I'm not. It's not just about getting to a place, it's about the journey. Yeah. Raj is saying. Lisa?
A few things that when he's saying, using the Re'eh, that God is showing him the land, and then he's seeing God himself, and then in 7, and then also God is making, in 2, he's making him a great nation, and then Abraham is making God an altar.
So there's some mutuality here, is what you're saying. But what you point out, I think, which is so important, is that there's a key root, which is Ra'ah, or as you said, Ra'eh, right? So the key root is, right, to see. And of course, where is Abraham going? Well, he's going El Haaretz Asher Areka, to the land that I will show you. What is that? Right? Harry and family.
And read about it.
Harry, what do you got?
Oh, you have to keep going. A question or comment.
So I was thinking where it said that the Eternal One was saying to Abram, go forth from your land, your birthplace, your father's house, to land that I will show you. It seems like he's telling him like, go, and he's gonna show him all the ways of the Jews and God. He's gonna teach him so he can carry on the traditions and pass it down the line.
Yeah, so smart and thoughtful, because what's your goal in life? Leave home and don't listen to what your parents told you have to do. Figure it out for yourself.
Yeah.
That's the key. Now, if your mother's in earshot and she can hear me, I've never said this, okay? I've never said that.
She's in the other room. It's okay.
Thank God. But yes,
Oh,
very
she-
similar.
Oh, she heard. She
Oh,
just
she
heard.
heard you.
Yeah.
Hi, Mia. Love
What?
ya. All right. Jane.
I was just thinking when I was reading this that that Abraham is taking, you know, a great risk, as we all do, when he's going to make this change, because he doesn't know this, he doesn't know where he's going. I think he's taking a lot on faith, which I think a lot of us do. And I think it's, you know, when you decide to make a change either where you are or if you go somewhere else, it's what I call a courageous risk.
James points out, and it's a practical thing, which is moving is not easy, right? How long, Jane, did it take for your furniture to arrive and everything to get there when you moved down to where you are now, South Carolina, North Carolina, wherever you are? How long did it take for everything to get settled?
About 4 months.
So it takes a lot of, you have to like really work through it. And here's the kicker. Abraham did not know where he was going. He could not send the Atlas van lines to deliver all his stuff. He was just taking it all with him, right? I got Michael Feinberg, then Lisa again.
So the question that arises is, why was Abraham chosen? But I think, and I've seen a comment to this effect, that it isn't so much the question is, how is it that Abraham heard? Maybe God was speaking to everyone, and only Avram, as he was then, actually heard. And what he heard was, go forth, go out. You know, whether it was going home or going to see a neighbor or whatever, he was getting out of his homeland, getting away from the country of idolatry. So he was going somewhere else where he would become truly himself. The land I always see metaphorically, and I understand it here as, above all, he was the one who heard, not the one who was chosen to hear, but who did hear. In him, there was something that heard.
So it could have been that God was speaking to all, to everyone. But Avram said, I have to act on this, right? Crucial. Lisa, last one before we go to the river.
So in Bereshit, God speaks things into being, and here it's using the word Devar, that he's speaking the journey.
Show me where. Let's see.
In verse 4.
Verse 4. Vayoch Avram kasher diber elav. Yeah. I like that. Yeah. I think that what's most interesting about this journey is we don't know where it leads, and yet we do. Tom, last one.
You know, there's an interesting thing I heard not too long ago. I don't know whether this is Midrash or not, but that God asked about 3 or 4, maybe even 5 people if they would make the journey before he asked Abraham. I just thought that was an interesting.
A lot of it's a similar midrash. It isn't he asked, but that a lot of people could have made this journey. Avram decided to go. Right, Bob. Last one for you.
Maybe God asked Avram to go because Avram's the elect, and God does what he does for reasons.
Right. So we have to believe that there is some reason Avram was the guy who got the call or who responded to the call.
Exactly.
Last one for real, Arnold.
You know, this Pasha speaks to all of us in the sense that we're on a journey, we don't know where we're going, there's a certain uncertainty. The question I have is, how do you know when you've got there that this is the place you want to be?
Oh, that is such. Arnie just asked, I'm going to actually send Arnie a bouquet of flowers for his wife. Because he just asked the operative question. How do you know when you arrive?
Exactly.
How do you know when you've reached your destination? Let's go to the videotape. Go to the remnants. Go to the remnants. Do you have it? Watch what, and I put the first one in decidedly for Harry. I put this remnants in, but also for all of us. You'll notice that the commentators are responding to our question, which is, so why, what how is Abraham's journey a response to the call, and where is he going? Which means where are we going as well?
Rabbi, can I just ask one thing before you go on to the remez?
Seconds.
Yeah, when Michael was talking about that Abraham was the only one to hear the call, it made me think of Moses in the burning bush, that, you know, that Moses was the only one who really saw and stopped to do something about it.
Wait, so what does that teach us? There's a reason, as Bob Coulter said, that Abraham was the one who heard or the one who chose to hear, because it was meant to be in some way. So now we get the Rashi. Lech lecha, Carol Sheffield, the Rashi.
To the land that I will show you. And similar to this we find upon one of the mountains which I will tell you. And similar as well we find, and you shall proclaim it to the city of Nineveh. The prophecy I will speak to you. God refrains from telling what or where, so as to make the journey more precious in his eyes and increase the reward of the faithful.
What is this Rashi saying? It's a perfect remez text. Remember what a remez is? A remez are the hints in other texts that remind us of what's going on in this text. So you just take any one of the texts. What is, and is Harry's hand up yet? No. So upon one of the mountains I will tell you, that's the Akedah. Abraham doesn't know where he's going to sacrifice or supposedly bring up his son like an offering. And you shall proclaim it, right? The prophecy, I will speak to you. Jonah knows he's supposed to go someplace, he's not sure where, and so he goes the other way. So what is it saying? It's saying not knowing the destination, according to Rashi, somehow increases the preciousness and the sincerity of heart it takes to make the journey. You don't know exactly where you're going, you have an idea, you feel a call, and yet you walk, you go. Right? Some people would say, you're nuts. A lot of people who think they're called could be, but maybe not. The Tanhuma underscores what this means. So where is Abram going? Bill.
Abram embarks on his journey without knowing his destination, calling upon him for unqualified devotion and trust in being guided by God, wherever he is to go.
So, I mean, again, he picks up, he's ready to leave, he's ready, maybe because he was, he lived for a lot of years in Haran. Maybe because he recognized where he actually was going. Virginia.
Well, I was thinking exactly the opposite, that maybe the plan is not yet finished, and the weight of, and the journey is part of the plan, and the unknown is part of the plan, and that's where God and Abraham are going. Maybe God doesn't have a very, very, very fixed plan until then. I don't know.
I love that idea. I'm not so sure based upon the rest of the text, and based upon where his father was heading as well. But I love the idea that maybe it's still evolving. Okay, Harry.
Go to the new land.
Harry, you got something else?
Oh, yeah. So I was remembering, since Noah's sitting next to me, I was remembering that last week there was criticism of Noah for not asking questions, and that Noah was the builder of an altar. And now we replicate the story. And Abraham, as in the Akedah, doesn't ask questions either. He just goes. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure that, well, obviously he doesn't know where he's going, but if the end he's going to go and it's going to end up in the sacrifice, as you mentioned, maybe it's not such a great destination. And I think Noah had a comment.
Yeah, I had something to say too. So basically, the verse 1, so it's saying, go forth from your native land, and from your birthplace and from your father's house, basically saying, leave all you know and love, and to the land that I will show you. It's saying, leave all that you know and love to the new land. I will show you everything about this new land, so you can know and explore this new land. So leave what you've known your entire life to find the new things.
Right, so I like that. You're talking too much to your grandfather, by the way, because you have such deep wisdom.
Yes.
But I would tell you this: what's wonderful about Abraham leaving, maybe even without asking a question, like Noah, is unlike Noah, who built an ark and knew exactly what was happening. Abraham doesn't, and so as Virginia just said, which I think is the key takeaway, it's the journey that matters.
Absolutely.
It's the journey that helps us understand how we get home. Elaine,
What I think.
Hold on a sec, Susan, hold on a sec.
I just want to pick up on that a little bit. It seems to me as a literary device, it is a brilliant way of demonstrating character, because by having that unknown, how that person responds to that unknown, to that void, shows what kind of person he is. As you've indicated, the difference between Abraham's response and Noah's, and Jonah's, for example, shows exactly how they deal with the unknown and those orders. And it demonstrates character, so that I think it's a great literary device too.
Great literary device that demonstrates faith, as a couple people said, and demonstrates character, right? Noah, do what God says. Abraham, wherever it is, I will go. Very
What he's teaching me, Jeffrey, is that we all have an internal guidance system, that we have this connection that is beautiful in our lives, and we have an opportunity to use it.
I love that. Ellis, go ahead.
I was going to say that, this is the essential ingredient of faith, which is courage. Fortune favors the bold. You cannot be in possession of faith without courage. And this is what that looks like.
Beautiful. Because what's he doing? As the other Noah said, right? So what's he doing? He's leaving everything he knows. Freddie, what do you got?
I got, Rabbi, so it almost seems like we're taking an adventure inside and outside reciprocally. And I was wondering what your thinking was, that as Jews, we almost, we're insiders and outsiders simultaneously. It feels a little bit like with Don Quixote, where we're kind of, I find myself talking to God and simultaneously asking myself, am I doing the right thing?
Yeah. But by the way, your question is going to come back in the sermon. So how does this impact us on our journey as Jews? And I think you are hitting exactly the right note. So I'm going to come back to you. This is my brilliant cousin Fred. So yes. So now, how hard is it to leave home? Look at the Rambam, where really the Malbim is going to tell us. Right? So who's got the Rambam? Elaine.
It is difficult.
Philip read, right?
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
It is difficult for one to leave the country with which he associates his past, and even more difficult to leave the country where one's kinfolk reside, and most difficult to leave one's father's house. Yet Abram is commanded to leave all three so as to show his great love for God.
Right, so what is he pointing out? He's pointing out the classic commentary that's in the Talmudic Agadah. It says, as was pointed out by Noah, go from your land, the big circle, from your birthplace, the smaller circle, from your father's house, the intimate circle. Why the reverse order? Elaine, you're on a roll. Give us the Malbim.
Why the reverse order? One first leaves his parental home, then his birthplace, and finally, the land. The purpose of the divine command to Abram was not so much to achieve physical separation as to cut his ties with his idolatrous environment.
Right, so this was mentioned before, very midrashic. You gotta leave the practices of your parents behind in order to grow into your true self. You can't just say, they did it this way, I'm gonna do it this way, especially if some of the ways they did it, and this isn't just, let's go to a new location, right? This is, let's become something we are not yet. Yeah. So it's a journey of becoming. Yeah. Crucial, right, Jack?
The big difference between Jonah and Abraham is that Jonah is, it's not that he doesn't question God. he has a responsibility to save the world, what's left of it. Okay, so it's a totally different thing. Whereas, and so he knows actually where he's going, because he's going to a new world.
Yes.
Okay, that's already fantastic.
Yes.
Abraham is basically the wanderlust kind of person who always wanted to discover something else. He responded to the appeal or the message of God, but he had to have the courage to follow. There are a lot of people
Yes.
who have faith,
Yeah.
they pray and everything else, but it stops.
Yeah, Jack is saying something crucially important, because we think of Abraham as the iconoclast of his time, the rebel against the idolatry of his age, a pioneer. What are we forgetting? We're forgetting what we know. If we read the end of chapter 11, Rabbi Moshe Greenwald tells us, right? Dr. Tom, look at the Moshe Greenwald.
Just this is the difference between Terach and Abraham. For a while there was in Terach the clear vision to set out for the land of Canaan. He changed his mind in mid-journey. Together, Terach, his son Abraham, his grandson Lot, Haran's son, and Sarai, his daughter-in-law, set out for the land of Canaan. And when they came to Haran, and they settled there, but Abraham, our forefather, was not content to rest. He did not get cold feet halfway there. For this reason, the Holy One revealed the divine self to him, saying, Lech Lecha.
So what can we not forget here? What is the text telling us?
The father went too.
The father started out for Canaan.
He was called too.
Yeah.
Maybe he was called too, right? So Michael, maybe everybody is called, right? Chicky Reichgott says you should go settle in Westchester. She would never say that, by the way.
I can't understand the word you're saying.
Chicky Reichgott says you should go settle in Westchester, right? Right? But she stops halfway. Where did you guys settle growing up?
We went to the West Coast.
West Coast, right? By the way, that would be the wrong direction, right? Right? But if you, so maybe Abraham was continuing his father's journey. He was on, and his father stopped halfway. He didn't get cold feet, however. He responded to the call. Where his father settled. Understand settled in all its implications. When it says in chapter 37, Vayeshev Yaakov in Beersheba, that Jacob settled in Beersheba, that doesn't just mean he decided to settle down. That means somehow he settled. Didn't reach high, just went medium or low. So what do we know? So now, Abraham wouldn't settle. So where's he going? That's the key question for us. Where is he going? And I like the interpretation so far. I want to give you a few classics about the nature of the journey itself that will frame our understanding. First, Nachum Sarna, which is smart, but he also underscores the fact that it's, yes, a continuation of his father, but still different. Neil.
It is unclear whether it's unclear whether Abram knew from the outset the identity of the promised land. It is possible he continued the western migration that his father had interrupted. Terach took his son Abram, Lot, his brother, son, his daughter, Sarai, and they all went out together for the land of Canaan. One way or the other, God's word transformed the trek into a wholly new venture, holy WH.
So you can be going in a direction where your parents or grandparents started, but the journey is new because it's you.
Rabbi, it made me think of my grandparents who started out in Austria-Hungary and came to the United States And then my father continued the migration to Westchester County. And now I'm moving down to North Carolina. And I keep thinking that, you know, for my grandfather, it was a totally new venture moving to the United States. And for me, it was the same thing. So I keep thinking of anybody who makes a continuous journey like that, and going to a new place and discovering new things. And then you discover yourself all over again.
Yes, yes, for sure. Avram's journey, however, was different. It wasn't the Chevrah Torah. Why? We're going to see. Neil.
So it said before that their destination towards was the negative. Why are they heading to the desert? It makes no sense. If you're going from a place that's, I won't say full of milk and honey, but a place that's relatively arid to a place, farmable, to a place that's desert, that's arid, why would you do that?
Yeah.
Unless God told you to.
Yeah, well, so you're doing it because, as a few people already said, it's a journey of faith. But there's something underscoring Avram's journey that we haven't quite gotten to yet.
Yes.
We haven't quite gotten to. Dave Zabel.
Yes.
Yeah, I have a question, and I'm just, if you could remind me, when was the Chai added to Avram's name? You know, the
Hay gets
the
added
Hay.
to Avram's name in chapter 17, verse 3. So it isn't there yet. And at the same time that Avram gets a name change, so does his wife, Sarai, get a name change. I just studied that with rabbinic students, 50-year rabbinic students, just 2 days ago. And they were great in their take on it. But, right, so something about the journey changes us.
Yes.
Right? I got to keep going with the text. I got to keep going, so I'm not going to get there. So just note what Rabbi Hirsch says, which is, continuing the journey of his father, Avram now follows the direction of a different navigator. That's crucial. A different navigator. Whereas his father said, listen, I love the village in Haran. They have a lovely cobbler, and there's plenty of great grazing lands here. And, you know, so, but Avram said, no, let's go to the desert. You're right. Is he a nut? What is he thinking? So he's thinking something beyond the physical. Aviva Gottlieb Zornberg tells us, why does Avram leave? Is he persecuted? No. Right? As my cousin Fred said, right? A very different motivation. Because for 2,000 years of wandering, more or less, Jews went from place to place. Why? Because they were kicked out. That's not the case here. Karen, the Zornberg.
For the first time, the journey is undertaken not as an act of exile, Adam or Cain, or a quest for domination, the generation of Babel, but as a response to a divine imperative.
Something about this journey is God-sent. Something about this journey goes beyond the mere physical necessities of the moment. In fact, it's all beyond the physical, because he wouldn't leave it. It was just, his father had a nice idol business. Could have inherited, given it to his children, probably done franchises. Everybody, it was all good. And yet he said, I'm not willing to do this. And by the way, he's no spring chicken.
A quick one to respond to Neil. We have seen in the past that there was a reason to be in the desert, because what it does is it eliminates everything all the clutter that you have accumulated in your life. You see nothing but yourself. And so
that's right. Now, Jack just said beautifully, if you're in the desert, you see nothing but yourself and eliminates all the clutter. Read the Kli Yakar, a pre-Hasidic commentary.
Okay.
Under the Hirsch.
Under the Hirsch. Only a person willing to stand alone, singular, unique, can approach the God who is alone, singular, and unique.
So as Jack just said and Virginia noted, it's the journey that helps you understand where you're going. And it's the journey that helps you know you are called. If you stay in that same place, you're just going to be the same. By the way, same place is beyond physical. It's metaphysical. We understand. And so now, I'm going to give you the boober first, and then the great, line from Midrash Haggadah. The boober is classic. Let me make Andy Stridwell. Can you unmute and give us the boober? Andy says, absolutely not. I don't know what the heck I'm doing. Andy, you just got to unmute, sweetie. No? Can you unmute, Andy? Press the space bar, Andy. The space bar.
Ah, yes, the space bar.
Okay. Give us the boober. The boober. This is, by the way, this is Martin Boober. This is Martin Boober. Go ahead.
Okay, the boober. Hold on.
It's at the bottom of page Remmers.
Ah, okay. I can't. No. Go to the next person.
Virginia, can you give us the boober? If you unmute, you can.
She's still embarrassed.
We're not hearing you, Virginia. How come?
Her microphone.
Now you will. The place held by the story of Abraham requires this story to fulfill a threefold task. It must first make visible its relation to its own past, to show how Abraham appears as a new beginning. Secondly, it must measure out the road and let us follow the road taken through the divine call and promise. And it must luminously forecast the road to be followed for these followers to become a people receiving a call all their own.
So this is a little drashy, but I think it's remez enough. What is Buber saying? He's making three key points. And this is Buber, by the way, teaching at University of Frankfurt in 1921, giving lectures in the Bible. He says, A, the journey is a new beginning. It doesn't negate the past, but it offers a different present. 2, it's a new path of unfolding promise. And by taking the journey 3, it's a projection for tomorrow, right? And here's the key. We all follow it on our own. That means it doesn't lead to a physical place. It's not a journey where we go, oh, Poughkeepsie, I know how to get there. God forbid Poughkeepsie, right? But it is a journey that leads everybody on the path towards promise, but it isn't the same for everyone. Crucial.
Can I interject as well? At the altar, the Eternal called upon the name. He called upon the name of the Eternal. The name of the Eternal. I am that I shall become. And this is what we're calling upon now. This is an never-ending journey, calling upon the Eternal within us.
Right, and of course, where is he going is the real question, the underscoring question, if it's not to a physical place. It says in the Midrash Haggadah, read not the land that I will show you, but Erecha, the land where I will see you.
Yes. So this is what he wants to see. He wants to see the Eternal within himself. And
beautiful. Yes. So I'm going to interrupt you only because I want Rabbi Mordechai Yosef of Izbika to say what you're saying in a more Hasidic way, because I know you're not a Chassid, right? So, Mike, on the top of the Drash page, just the little Mordechai Yosef of Izbika. This is the Ishbitzer, by the way, same rabbi. Oh, I'm sorry if you can't hear me. Listen, I feel comfortable taking my mask off.
I will show you.
Go.
Abraham desired to know the place where his life essence would be intensely joined to the God of blessing. How far it reached. So God responded to him, to the land that I will show you, meaning that God's presence will be in the place called I will show you. As Abraham journeyed to the land, so the Holy One will be revealed.
What is he saying?
Be there when you get there.
Oh! That's right, Michael Reichert just said. Did you hear that online, by the way?
Yes.
You'll be there when you get there. First thing our kids ask when we get in the car, when they're little. Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Right? Right? So the first thing our kids asked, my son Gabriel wanted to see the map. Insisted. Because his father never knew where the heck he was going. I didn't have GPS. But this is the great statement of faith. You'll be there when you get there. Why? Because you're going to, I will show you. You go into a journey that has a long path and lots of possibility. There isn't just one way. Okay? So keep this on the side burner, skip the karaoke, and go to the Rabbi Larry Hoffman.
Rabbi, I have a question before you go on. Is it Jacob that puts up the altar that says, and this was the land where God was seen? Is it Jacob that does that?
No. It's Avram. Avram later on builds the altar. I don't think Jacob does. You know, I have to check. Maybe. Could be in chapter 35. I have to see. I'm not sure. Look at the Hoffman. The Hoffman is, I think, brilliant. And Hoffman will now extend this to the Jewish people as a whole. Right? Julian, start us with the Hoffman. To be a Jew.
To be a Jew is ever to go forth from one challenge to another. Yet more than we have selected this historic journey, history has selected us for it. In our daily prayer, Elenu, we praise God who provided us with a destiny unique among the nations. Wherever we have settled, our successful meeting of new cultural challenges has been followed eventually by a period of social decline and persecution, causing us to go forth yet again. Thus, the negative side of the journey is the image of a wandering Jew, people eternally going forth.
Right, so we have been, because of persecuted from land to land, exiled from place to place, seen as the wandering Jew. And we all see that image of the hunchback, right? The Jew with the pekla on his or her back, right? We see the fleeing from the pogrom in Anatevka. That is not this image in the least, right? Arnie, keep it going.
By going forth from persecution is only half the story. The other half is going towards some promised end. We tend to emphasize the former because science has taught us to think in terms of causality. Philosophy, on the other hand, recognizes the possibility of what Aristotle called the final cause. Theology, or telos, and this thinking warns that an event's importance lies less in what caused it than in what it will eventually accomplish. Go forth, not just from the native land, but to a land that I will show you.
Right, and so that's why Karioliski says, all journeys include two steps, from and toward. Both are necessary for a journey to feel complete. Abraham knew where he was coming from, but only in the course of his journey could he discover where he was heading toward. He realized that the journey, in fact, is an important part of spiritual growth. Indeed, the growth is in the journey. It's not in getting there that we fulfill our destiny. It's in going forth. So very big. And now the underlay, John Borden, you feel comfortable reading for us? And pick it up. If we continually think of Jewish history.
If we continually think of Jewish history as going forth from, but forget the going forth to, we miss the whole point of the lesson of Lech Lecha. Abraham and Sarah left their old environs because God called them, not because they were persecuted. To be sure, we have learned to respond to Jews in distress, pushed out of Russia or Ethiopia, but we have yet to direct our heroism to the pull factor, the teleological definition of long-range Jewish goals toward which we may aspire. Jewish destiny will not go far if it remains only the result of buffeting from without. If we are to remain true to the model of Abraham and Sarah, we will have to reclaim a sense of being called by God to some uncharted future, the Jewish mission that will save our Jewish future.
What does Hoffman say about the nature of Jewish existence as it's informed by the journey? He's saying something very specific. Let me just see if I can move these talking people around. Folks, you know what we just teaching here? So I'm just going to say. So what is Hoffman saying to us, which I think means everything? What is Judaism? What is the Jewish mission? Elaine.
I just have to say something about that. One of the things I've always been concerned about these Holocaust memorial museums is the fact that they so stress the horror of the Holocaust, almost in a, I hate to say this, almost a pornographic way. There's a sense I had when I went to the one in Washington, when I saw the response of school kids to it. It was almost titillating to see all those kind of things, and it really bothered me. And why I became a docent at the one in New York when it opened was because it was not just about the Holocaust. It talked about what it means to be Jewish and Jewish values. And I felt that that was an important thing to communicate in each one of these things. Otherwise, you just got a very distorted sense of this whole, of the Jews' place in history.
So both Larry Hoffman and Terry Olitsky and Elaine Chapnick are saying, don't get caught in the past. Don't glorify the past, or don't make the past as a basis for your existence. Michael.
So I see this really as the essence. The story that we're reading is written from the position of knowing where we got, right? So it's an explanation of how we got there.
Yeah.
And it explains it in interesting ways that allows us to make a claim about the space. We put altars on both sides.
Yeah.
We went south and put an altar down there.
Yeah.
Okay. But what Hoffman is saying is, you can explain where you came from, but you can't explain where you're going. But that's where the challenge is.
Yeah.
That's what you have to be thinking about.
Yeah.
Where do you want to go from here? Not how did you get here?
Yeah. There's a great new book, and I'm going to try to get her to come here. I think it may not be until, it may be this year, it may not be until next fall. But the best Jewish fiction writer today is Dara Horn. Dara Horn wrote a nonfiction book called, that I've just finished, People Love Dead Jews. It is 11 or 10 essays, maybe 9, about why that is a destructive understanding and why, and she has one essay about the glorification of the Holocaust in Anne Frank, and Anne Frank as an anti-role model. Indeed, we don't even know Anne Frank's story, and it's a more well-known diary that has never been published. Why? It doesn't have hope and lollipops and ice cream in it. It's the diary of a younger man who documents the camps in a hellish way. And we don't know it because it doesn't tell the nice truth. It tells the sad and profound truth. And he says, Jewish existence has to mean more. Redeem it. Woo!
Is that Dala or Gala or?
What do you say?
Horn's first name.
Dara Horn.
Dara.
Right. Dara Horn. She's great. Right? It appears that God does keep his promise. He promised Abraham he will. Raj, you got to tell us what you're saying. I can't see it.
Sure. So as I read this passage, it appeared that God does keep his promise. He promised Abraham he will make his name great. And here we are. We still study Abraham. How many of us can remember our own great-great-grandfather's name? So I guess Judaism, religion, is really about making a name, making a good name by walking in God's path or towards God's path, the journey home, so that when people remember us, they say, may his name be a blessing.
Yeah, and in fact, what is Abraham's promise, God's promise? That you shall be a blessing. So maybe to get to Mike Reichbach's comment and connect it, it's that where are we going towards? That's the hard challenge. We're going towards being a blessing. That was the promise to Abraham. Now, how you do that? That is the call. Virginia and then Jack.
Yeah, to me, in Larry's text, the key concept is uncharted. As Jews, we have always had to accept historically and even today that we don't know exactly where we're going because there have been so many traps along the way, but we embrace what is uncharted. And that's where we take the risk. And that's where we, every time, will remain Jewish.
I couldn't agree with you more, Virginia, and here's the key. The key is, if we are to remain true to the model of Abraham and Sarah, we will have to reclaim a sense of being called by God to some uncharted future. Why is that hard to wrap our heads around? Why is that hard to have a movement? I'm running for President Rabbi, and my campaign slogan is, join me as we head someplace. And so, let's make a better world. So it's a little amorphous, and as it says, right, it's about us responding to a call. Jack.
We have a perfect example here in the name of God. It says, when you ask him, what's the name of God? It's, I will be. Okay. If we don't follow that very same expression, we will always be metastatic. We will all be stuck somewhere. We have to constantly go, and whatever the circumstances are, we will adjust, we will adapt. That is faith.
Jack is saying something crucial. The call of faith is in knowing it's not okay to stay where you are. You have to keep going. It's a process of becoming. Becoming what? I think a blessing is the key. I'm going to go with Lisa, then Dave, and then I got to go to the Jonathan Sachs. It's too great.
To me, Buber and Hoffman seem to be saying the same thing, kind of that the past, present, and future of a life is the journey. That's the whole thing.
Yes, they're saying the journey is essential, and in fact, it's on the journey that we discover how we make it back home, or to home, or create home, or build home. Dave.
Well, it's obvious, but I think maybe the best example of looking forward is how the people in the camps survived. You know, there was nowhere else to look but forward.
Yeah, though some didn't survive. Some didn't survive in their Judaism. Some lost faith. Some, and so there were all kinds of responses. Viktor Frankl, though his end wasn't great, also is, I think, a key way to respond, which is, I can't control what other people do, but I certainly am in charge of my own response. And in response, there is responsibility, as Wiesel teaches. So look at Jonathan Sachs, who I think has it together. Bob Coulter channeled Jonathan Sachs.
Sometimes, on the journey of faith, we have to give up the past in order to find the future. To be able to make that leap from the familiar to the unfamiliar involves trust. In Abraham's case, not in the visible power, but in the voice of the invisible God. Go for yourself. Believe in what you can become. Lech Lecha means being prepared to take an often lonely journey. To be a child of Abraham is to have the courage to be different, to challenge the idols of the age. When power was worshipped, it meant constructing a society that cared for the powerless. When war was the test of manhood, it meant striving for peace. During endless centuries in which the mass of mankind was sunk in ignorance, it meant honoring education as the key to human dignity. Abraham was commanded to leave his place in order to testify to the existence of a God not bounded by place. To be a Jew is to be willing to hear the still small voice of eternity urging us to travel, continuing Abraham's journey toward the unknown destination at the far horizon of hope.
So, I mean, listen, Jonathan Sachs is, I think, and this is from a longer commentary, but he's got it. So if we're called to be a blessing, notice that's the only command in the promise. It's in the command form, and you be a blessing. That's about Abraham's response. That's about what's he going to do on his journey to make life a little bit more bright and blessed for the people around him and for the world he's confronting. It means you have to realize you have the same becoming, the power of transformation that God has if we're created in that image. So what does it mean? It means constructing a society that cares for the powerless. It means striving for peace. It means education as the key to human dignity. We know, but isn't it a lot easier to stay where we are? To say, that's fine. Yeah, I'll contribute 20 bucks. Yeah, it's, you know. So you can be consumed by this. On the other hand, you can become complacent. You don't have to change, or maybe you can't change the whole world. We all know the starfish story, right? The little kid on the beach, throwing back the starfish, the old man that says, you can't save all these starfish, it's not gonna matter. And he picks up one and he says, it matters to this one. So the whole idea that we have the ability to help a person, that's what the journey's about. It's who can you help today? And where are we headed? The far horizon of hope. So I think it's so compelling, right? So compelling. And I'm surprised that Arnie hasn't said this yet. It's frustrating. It is frustrating to be on this mission and to respond to the call. Why? I knew Arnie raised his hand. Arnie!
You know, this journey is a very ephemeral kind of journey. You don't know where you're going. You know where you've been. You don't know if where you are is the place to be. Helping others, that's around. We can all embrace in that. But the thing that troubles me is you're left with perpetual uncertainty as to, am I doing the right now? Can I do better? You're always looking over your shoulder and trying to outguess yourself. It's like chronic mental war within.
Yes!
That's
Michael, and then Bob!
That's
There's
nice.
a corollary statement, which is when you're there, that's where you are. And when you're there, that's where you are.
Right.
And so what we have to do is do what you need to do to make it better.
Right? So Michael's giving us, my Gresha's giving us, it's almost a dialectic. You can appreciate where you are and how far you've come, but realize you're still not there yet. Right? So it's both. Bob.
I'm going to say that's every individual's life, whether they choose it or not.
Read it a little louder,
Every
Bob.
individual's life, whether they think of this at the beginning, which they don't think of children or not, you know, they're in a life of uncertainty, wondering where they're going, how things will turn out. So this is very universal.
Yeah, it's totally universal, but it's intrinsically Jewish. And intrinsically the call of Abraham. And in fact, Michael Feinberg quoted a midrash that actually, I don't know the midrash, Michael. I'm thinking about it. I know Rabbi Julian Morgenstern, who was the homiletics professor, the Bible professor in Cincinnati in the 40s, 50s, 60s at HUC. And he wrote, all of us receive the call of Abraham, but most of us don't answer.
We don't hear it.
Because we think it's meant for someone else. I think that's true. So how is it that we can respond to the call? Here's my last, I think, challenging and wonderfully uplifting. Anybody in the whites in their home want to unmute and read a little of this? Because I'm looking for a Boston accent. Harry, a little Professor Peter Pitzela, he's going to give us the challenge of the journey that we take with us.
Abraham speaks to the part of me that wanders. Speak to those times in my life when I felt adrift in a universe that is haunted by mystery and that bears strange, elusive meanings.
Right, like every day, Harry, right? Like every day I look around and say, what is going on, right? How do I deal with, these unanswered questions? How do I deal with a universe and a world that doesn't always make sense? And with some people who don't have common sense. But still, I journey on. Go ahead.
We do not know the motive for Terah's migration, but we know he reached only the western border of his homeland. Immediately after the words, Terah died in Haran, comes the following. Then the Lord called Abram and said, leave your native land and your father's house and go to the land I will point out to you. In this moment, a beam of light picks Abram out from a jumble of figures. The bustle of life in Haran recedes suddenly into a deep shadow. A man, apparently no one special, is arrested in the middle of things. The flow of his life is interrupted by a voice. It addressed him. No context, no preparation, no proof. Just a man hearing a voice which calls to him, summons him, directs him, leave and go.
Why is this so crucial, right? As Harold's reading, why is it so crucial? He says what we know. Does the Torah tell us Abraham has some great yichus, some great qualifications? No. Now, he may, but from the text, he's no one special. He's every person. He's you and he's me. Which means we all can be called. Or maybe we are. But we have to hear it in order to respond. Love it, love it. All right, Shana, you ready to finish this up? Shana, unmute.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead. Terach's dream.
Terah's dream to reach Canaan has gone unfulfilled. Abram is called to complete it, but in a way his father could never have imagined. In the Terah-Abram story, this generation's progress begins as the dream of Terah for Canaan. It is renewed in the son and recast, spiritualized and empowered by a force greater than anything Terah knew. Abram will become Abraham and pass the dream on, unfulfilled, to his son Isaac, then Isaac to his son Jacob, and still the dream is unfulfilled. Each generation renews the dream in its own terms, responding to the very same summons.
Right, so we pass on, as Shana just read, a dream that is unfulfilled, right? Unlike Sancho Paz and Don Quixote, Fred, right? Or maybe similar in a way, right? It actually, I shouldn't say unlike, I should say like, right? It is a dream that we're not sure between dream and reality, but it's a dream that is yet to be fulfilled. And that each generation has to take and dream on its own. Shana, finish that.
This generational enterprise remains alive and potent precisely and paradoxically because it is never completely fulfilled. Zion remains a dreamland. Jews live in expectancy, travel as sojourners toward a place that is never reached, toward a time that will never be. It is the message of Abraham that each generation must be called to the journey. Each one's call is also a recollection, a recalling of previous calls. The dream outlives the dreamers. It asks to be remembered in every generation, but every generation dream anew. Whenever the father has settled and died, the child must set out again into a wilderness to live the dream, to answer the call.
Boom. Right? Why is that so? That is the Jewish enterprise. First of all, I think it's almost emotional for me to even read it and to think about what that means. This generational enterprise remains alive and potent precisely and paradoxically because it is never fulfilled. Jews live in expectancy, travel as sojourners toward a place that has never reached, a time that will never be. And you could say, oi. Or you could say, no, this is how we all should live. Anticipation to know we can yet make the world whole again, but recognizing every day there's just too much brokenness to fix it all. But if we walk away and say, I'm done, what are we? Michael Feinberg.
I was just thinking, at the core of the journey, we're saying this is really about the journey, but at the core of the journey, there is something else. And I think in a way, this is the kind of first illustration of kavanah, of holy intention, because you can travel as much as you like. But if you don't have holy intention, if you don't have a sense of holy purpose, you're just drifting.
Oh my God, write that down, right? He didn't say Kabbalah, by the way, he said Kavanah, right? From what's the root of the word Kavanah? Holy intention? Kivun, direction. Elizabeth Sanger, just gotta unmute Elizabeth.
Intention, purpose.
Hold on 1 sec, we're gonna wait for Elizabeth.
Got it, finally. Okay, what I can never forget, what I always say is, it's our very name, Israel, struggles with God. You never give up the struggle. And that's in our name. And it's not only, it's welcomed, it's the essential part of who we are.
Yeah, and of course the promise to Abraham is, I will make your name great. Well, making our name great as Yisrael means you are going to be always between where you are and where you should be. It's going to be that tension of knowing you may be in a place, but you're not there yet. It may be a beautiful place, but it's not yet sacred, not yet holy, not yet holy. Again, this is the reality of our lives, and it is supposed to be discomforting. It's supposed to make us think, okay, and again, the journey is metaphysical. It goes beyond this place to this. What can we do? And by the way, every step is sacred. It is the journey that matters. It's not getting there, right? Wayne, you have one thing to say? No, you good? Okay, no. Right? So recognize we are all called, and when we sincerely fulfill the call in our own way, we share in a collective dream that might never be fulfilled, but so long as we dream it and live it, we make the world more holy. And
Jeff, I was just going to say I'm going to have Michael come preach Sunday.
Michael Feinberg, right? Yeah. Michael Feinberg, he would preach a mean sermon. He would preach, and his accent would go over so big in the church.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
I'm on my way to the airport, Wayne.
Okay, Mike. Okay, I'm picking.
Next week, we have the most disturbing, just so you know, next week we're going to be in the Akedah, the binding of Isaac. And I found the most disturbing midrash. I can't wait to bother you with it. You're going to hate it.
I hope Harry will be there.
Oh, Harry has to be there. Harry has to be there.
Okay,
All right, guys.
Could we see the chat window for just a minute?
The chat window.
Bye, Susan.
Chat window.
Hi,
Let's see.
Virginia. Hi, Virginia.
Hello.
Shalom.
Shalom. Hi,
Shabbat
Elizabeth,
shalom.
Elaine.
Hi, hi.
Andy.
Hi, nice to see you all. How nice to see you all. We really miss you.
Nice to see
Hi,
everybody.
Karen.
Bye.
Goodbye.